Mercy Village Church, happy Thanksgiving, late, but I hope it was good for you. Maybe you're still celebrating some of the festivities through the weekend, I'm not sure. But hopefully it was a great time for everyone who's listening to this. I know we got a couple days off as a family, back to the grind now. Actually doing a little Black Friday pickup. Jeremiah found us a fridge for the space, so on the cheap. So I'm down here paying for it. But yeah, so back to the grind. But it was good. It was good, and God has given us lots of reasons to be thankful. And so hopefully you have experienced that as well, even if you had to fight for it. There were some times we had to fight for it as a family over the last couple of days. It's not always just a feeling of thankfulness. The Bible says, "Be thankful," knowing that sometimes it's a be, not a feel. So anyway, but that's another sermon for another day. What I do want to talk about are our member meeting, December the 1st. Please save the date. We'll come back to some of the details about it here in a second. But please, unless you have a compelling reason not to be there, please be there on December the 1st at 6 p.m. for our member meeting. And then we're going to talk about the food drive, and we're going to talk about some other things. But first, Josh Early, Pastor Josh, and I have met a couple times since the renovations have finished, or had some meetings on the phone. And one of the things that we're wanting to talk about is what are some of the things that as we move into 2022, so Christmas Eve, big invite, and get some of those invites if you haven't, and then the first Sunday of New Year's, big invite. So there's a big public kind of invite, Lord willing, new faces, new people coming into join with our family in celebrating who Jesus is and what Jesus has done. And Lord willing, God's going to grow our family. But what are some things, right, as we kind of have 4 weeks of lead into that, what are some things that we want to lay ownership to as a core team? Or some things that we already have ownership of, some ideas, concepts, thoughts, ways of living and acting and being a church together. They're already there, but we just want to remind us of our need to always be growing in those areas. And so one of those is welcoming and hospitality. It's one that we're already good at. I already see evidence of it all over the place. But we can't grow comfortable. You know this just about your own life. Like things that you are maybe good at today, if you don't continue to foster them, if you don't continue to nurture those things about yourself, they can fade away. And not only that, but no matter how good we are at welcoming and hospitality, if our standard is Jesus, but also our empowerment is Jesus, so don't feel guilt in that. He's the one that will strengthen us for it too. But if our standard is Jesus, there's always going to be room for growth until the day we die. We'll always be able to grow more welcoming, more hospitable. And so that's one of the things that Pastor Josh was talking about at the meeting, that he is prayerful, and I'm prayerful too, because obviously I'm in complete agreement with him, that we will grow more and more marked by being a welcoming church as we move towards these days ahead of us, Christmas Eve service and January 2nd, and then in the years to come, that we will be marked as a church, not that's exclusive, but inclusive, that we would be marked as a church who is welcoming, not clustering into our own little clubs and relationships, but welcoming of others, that we would be marked by hospitality, not building our own kind of kingdom, kind of separated out from everybody else, but welcoming people in. And so that's one of the things that we're praying for. So please be in prayer for your own heart, to be in prayer for the hearts and lives of your pastors and the leaders at Mercy Village Church. All of us have room to grow in this. Now I'm being, at the same time, all of us have shown, I've seen evidence of this in all of our lives too. So this isn't me coming down hard. This is me from a place of already seeing evidence of it, knowing that we are marked by this at some level, can be marked by this at an even higher level. That we actually have a lot of personalities and people and experiences in this church that'll make us good at this. But also, what's our motivation? Romans 15, Paul says to the church at Rome, after he finishes Romans is the gospel, just detailed and celebrated, and such a beautiful exposition of gospel truth. And as he kind of is getting towards the end of his letter, he says, therefore, based on all of this gospel truth, you were a bum, I was a bum, you were a fool, I was a fool, you were a sinner, had no business being in the family of God, but yet God sent Jesus. It was hard. Jesus went out of his comfort zone, went out of heaven, and came to us to initiate the welcome. The welcome was sacrificial. The welcome was not comfortable. The welcoming was not easy. But Jesus did it at great cost to himself, sacrificially welcomes us into the family of God. And based on that reality, that is now our reality by the grace of God through Jesus, he says, therefore, welcome one another as Christ has welcomed you for the glory of God. I mean, that's your motivation right there. That welcome that comes from Christ, not only the motivation, but the mobilization of us being able to welcome others comes because Christ has welcomed us. And when Christ welcomed us, he not only welcomed us in, but he empowers us to welcome others. Jesus not only saves us, but he empowers us to be like Jesus. That's sanctification. We become more and more like him. And so you have the motivation and the mobilization in Romans chapter 15. Welcome others as Christ has welcomed you. It's because of his welcome that you're now capable of welcoming others. And we can grow more welcoming of others. And it's also that's our mobilization, but it's also our motivation. Jesus welcomed us. We're people who were welcomed, therefore we can welcome others. And when that's our motivation, right, it saves us from only welcoming people that make us feel comfortable. It saves us from only welcoming people who have it together. It saves us from only welcoming people who will benefit us. That's what the flesh will try to have us do. Well, let's welcome, right, like the good people, the guest of honor, people who can give a lot of money to the church, or people who can serve on ministry teams. That's how your leaders are tempted to think. Let's welcome those people in. You'll be tempted to think, oh, let's welcome the people who I have a lot of things in common with. Let's welcome the people who I feel comfortable being around. That'll be the temptation. But Jesus completely flips the script, which he does with so many things in this life. And he says, no, the welcome is extended to anyone who will come. So we open wide our doors and we welcome. So might we be people who grow in this thing that's already true about us, but my prayer is that it will be more explicitly true of us, that there'll be more evidence of it, that we'll be marked by it more explicitly and undeniably. And let's practice doing that in the next 4 weeks. And then as we begin to welcome people in on Christmas Eve and the first Sundays of the new year, it'll just be obvious. These people welcome people with open arms. And then not just on our Sunday mornings, but into our homes for community groups and into our lives. Like, it's not just a welcome like into the space, but it's a welcome into a community that we can be vulnerable and authentic with others. So to that end, real practically, let's start showing up a little bit early for our Sunday morning gatherings. Let's start showing up a little bit early, and then let's start having our head on a swivel, so to speak, in the sense of we're looking for those new faces. We're looking for relationships that we haven't worked to form yet. And we give our Sunday morning time to that. So show up early, come with your head on a swivel, ready to engage people that you don't know or don't know very well, or people that you might know, but again, if God gives you discernment, you can see that they're hurting, or they're in a place of sorrow or pain, and you can make them feel welcome and at home too, which is something I've seen in the past weeks, and it's beautiful. So let's be those people. So show up a little bit early, and let's be in the spirit of looking for new faces or relationships that we haven't formed yet, people who need us to be present with them, and let's welcome. Let's be people of welcoming. So Ruth continues this weekend. Can't wait. This is going to be a great journey through the book of Ruth leading up to Christmas Eve, and I'm excited to share it with you. Naomi goes through a rough spot this week. She's trying to isolate herself. She doesn't feel worthy of love. She doesn't feel worthy of companionship. And we'll get beneath the surface of what some of those reasons may have been, even though we don't know for sure. But guilt and shame, things that are common for all of us. Just a whole host of different reasons why she might have felt this way. But yet Ruth continues to build into her life anyway, in a loving, kind, compassionate way. And it's an example for us. But it points us not just to like, we need to be more like Ruth, but no, we need Jesus, our Savior, to save us so that he can then make us more like Jesus. And then we'll start to see some of the things that we see in Ruth manifest themselves in our lives too. Some of the things that happened for Naomi, Jesus gives to us. So if we're the people who are feeling isolated or alone or shame or guilt, Jesus meets us there. Anyway, I don't want to preach the sermon, but I'm excited to go through it with you guys. And then the member meeting, once again, save the date. If you have, again, you can translate this however you want, but unless you have a compelling reason not to be there, compelling reason not to be there, and you're a member of Mercy Village Church, please join us for our member meeting on December 1st at 6 p.m. We'll cap that thing in an hour. Talk about budget and bylaws, which might sound boring, but we got to vote on those things, get them taken care of. Look for an email in your inbox if you're a member, so you can kind of look at that stuff in advance if you want to, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time discussing it. And then we'll share our lives together too, like what's going on, and look towards the future and what's coming. And I think it'll be a beautiful time together. It won't just be a business meeting. It'll be, I think, a good opportunity for us to be together. And then the food drive is coming. We'll have another video talking more about that. But starting December 5th, we're going to start collecting food, and we've got a lot of names that Jeremiah has been working, and Carolyn Canini have been working up a list, and we're going to have those names and addresses, and we're going to deliver these boxes to people. And I think it's going to be a beautiful opportunity to display the love of Jesus. So that's a lot. Hopefully you stuck around to the end. Happy Thanksgiving. And you can start playing Christmas music now, right? Like even the ones who are Nazis about not playing Christmas music can start playing it now. If you've been playing it the whole time, whatever, good for you. I don't care. But now we all can be doing it. So that's something to be excited about. So anyway, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Love y'all.